We hope you're feeling energized and ready for another amazing day. Our families remember our first conference. We were excited to learn all the things, but also overwhelmed with emotions, realizing how many families truly deal with the same things. It is important to make those connections, and if you are having any trouble making connections, please come and find one of us or any of the planning committee members. We have all been in your shoes and want nothing more than for everyone to have a memorable experience here.
We have an incredible lineup ahead, but before we dive in, we want to kick things off with something special. This video captures the heart of JA Family Summit, our mission, our people, and the impact we're making together. Isn't that cool? And now I'm pleased to welcome our longtime volunteer and Arthritis Foundation National Board Chair, Dennis Ehling.
Welcome. So excited to have you here at 2025 Juvenile Arthritis Family Summit. It's an honor to be with you here in Salt Lake City, surrounded by strength and spirit and amazing community. I'll go off script a little bit. I've been part of this foundation for about 20 years. In those 20 years, there's three things well, let me back up. I've probably been to every corner of this foundation in the last 20 years. I don't think there's a thing that the foundation does that I haven't touched one way or the other. But there are three things, not necessarily in this order, that are always my favorite. The first, the California Coast Classic. We'll hear about that, I'm sure. The second, advocacy. And the third, what we do with our JA families, especially this family summit. If you want to hear about the California Coast Classic, there are a few of us here, but please come up and ask me. I never tire of talking about it. Advocacy, you may have seen on your schedule, there's the leadership of our advocacy team here. Please take the time to speak with them and learn if you haven't yet been involved, or maybe you're just looking for a way to get more involved. Advocacy is one of the best ways that we can make our voice known and really drive the change. It's going to help us help our patients live better lives. But when we talk about the Family Summit, you know, of all the things we do, I really do think that our JA activities, and particularly Family Summit, are one of the things that have the most immediate impact. And why is that? Well, specifically, when you come here, whether this is your first time, or your fifth time, or your 15th time, you're going to find out not only are you not alone, but there are ways that your presence makes a difference. Well, you say, wait a minute, I'm my first timer. How do I make a difference? Well, because when you introduce yourself to someone and you share your story, you share your family's story with this disease, believe it or not, you're going to teach someone or maybe remind them something that they've forgotten. But you're going to teach them about an experience that they haven't had. Or you're going to touch them and they say, oh my goodness, someone had the exact same experience I did. And that is life-changing. We know it. We see it each year. So I want to encourage you, please, take the time to meet each other. Don't just hang out with people you already know. Network. Get to find people. Those friendships that you develop here, I know from hearing over the years, they really are life-changing, and they will last for years to come. I mentioned I am the chair of the Arthritis Foundation and Board of Directors. And in that position, I have the privilege of seeing the big picture. how every challenge and victory shared in spaces like this helps shape the future of our work. As I mentioned, I've been part of the foundation for some 20 years, and I think this is my 4th time at Family Summit, if I'm right. If Steve Smith were here, he'd correct me. So when we're cycling, we have something called Strava. If it didn't happen on Strava, it didn't happen. For me, JA Family Summit, if Steve Smith doesn't say it happened, it didn't happen. He is the dean of this place. He certainly is my Strava here. But in my calculation, that's 4 times. I think I should have been here 16 more times. I think I should have been here every year, because this summit is such a powerful reminder of what happens when we come together, sharing our experiences, finding support, and lifting each other up. It is also a glimpse into the future we're building together at the foundation, one focused on more access to care, on abundance of resources, and bold investments in research that reflect the real needs of our JA families. But none of that happens without courage. And that's something each of you brings to this space. Courage to face each day, courage to advocate, courage to believe in a better tomorrow, not just for your own child and family, but for everyone affected by juvenile arthritis. So as we begin this weekend, we should celebrate what makes this community so special. Let's listen, let's learn, let's laugh, and we'd better have plenty of opportunity for that. Let's dream big, because the future is brighter when we walk forward in it together. So on behalf of the National Board of Directors, I want to welcome you to the 2025 JA Family Summit. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our President and CEO, Steve Taylor.
Well, thank you, Dennis, very much, and thank you for all the volunteer hours that Dennis gives to this organization nationally, travels for us, speaks for us, as well as rides 20 years in the California Coast Classic. If you're not familiar, he didn't exactly explain what the California Coast Classic is, but it's a 525-mile bike ride from San Francisco down to Los Angeles every September. This year, it'll raise $1.5 million for the Arthritis Foundation, and we truly appreciate Dennis's leadership through the last 20 years for the CCC. But also his willingness to step up and serve on the National Board of Directors, along with Jen Tonning, who also is on our National Board of Directors and probably is in the room right now, but she's a JA mom, and she serves on the National Board of Directors as well. So we appreciate their leadership. So with that, I'm going to transition to our panel, which is going to share a little bit about how your kids can get involved in the organization, and we'll surely maybe even talk a little bit about how you can get involved again in the organization. But, you know, I mentioned my shirt, you know, being uniquely me. I'm surely not shy, as you've probably figured out if you didn't meet me before. But speaking up really matters. My shirt says your story matters as well, and your story really does matter. Your personal story, your family story, and if you're not comfortable telling your family story, I always tell people, choose another story to tell then. Tell a story of someone you met here. You know, my mom has a chronic disease, and she always hates telling her story because she doesn't really she feels embarrassed to tell her story. So she usually tells someone else's story. I met this other woman at a conference, and they have the same disease I have, and then she tells their story. It's an easier way to tell the story so it doesn't look self-serving. So if you're not comfortable telling your child's story or family story, choose someone's story that you met. It might be more serious story than yours. That's why you're more comfortable. Or maybe it's just easier to tell someone else's story. It's okay, but stories matter. It makes people understand that arthritis is serious. Arthritis urgency is important. The magnitude of this disease, 60 million people in the U.S., hundreds of thousands of kids have arthritis. So your story really matters. And our 4 young individuals that are coming up on the stage, their story matters, but they've been willing to speak up, and we truly appreciate them. So I'm going to bring them all 4 up on the stage and then introduce them after they get here. Can we give them all a round of applause as they join us on stage? So now they're a little nervous. I have to say it's a whole group of adults in front of them, and I'm just, you know, an old dad here trying to interview these amazing individuals. But they each remarkably have done a lot for this organization. They're willing to share their story. They're willing to stand up, be bold, be brave, and we have truly appreciated that. So I'm going to give them a minute. I'm going to read their introduction so you can each learn a little bit about them, and then we're going to kind of ask them some questions around how they got involved and what they're involved in with the organization. So first we have Ashlin. Down there. Ashlin lives in Faribault, Minnesota, and will be a senior at Medford Public Schools. She was diagnosed with polyarticular JRA at the age of 5 and is currently dealing with additional testing for possible second diagnosis. Ashlin has been attending Camp Sisu in Minnesota over the past 5 years and has met many new friends and has learned so much about herself from attending. When she isn't at camp, Ashlin is involved in FFA, Student Council, National Honor Society, and works at Hy-Vee Pharmacy. In her spare time, she enjoys spending time with her 4 siblings, her friends, her animals, and reading books. Welcome, Ashlin. Sophia, right next to her. Sophia is a 16-year-old junior ambassador for our advocacy program, and she's from Utah, right here, living with JIA. Diagnosed at 13 after months of unexplained ankle pain, she faced JIA with strength and determination. An honor student with learning disabilities, a competitive dancer, and active Girl Scout and 4-H member, she refuses to let her diagnosis get in her way or define her. Through advocacy and mentoring, she's found purpose and community, using her voice to raise awareness for kids with arthritis. So thank you, Sophia, and welcome. Peyton is 17 years old and is from my state. She's from Florida. She was diagnosed with arthritis in 2010, and her diagnosis today is juvenile polyarticular idiopathic arthritis. Peyton loves to play guitar and pickleball. She's also on the school softball team where she is catcher, and she plays in the outfield. She works at a Pilates studio and loves the gym. Peyton loves to rock climb and goes to concerts and spends time with her family and is involved locally with us and nationally as well. So welcome, Peyton. And then Adalynn was diagnosed with juvenile idiopathic arthritis just before her 2nd birthday. Her journey began after she started limping at the age of 1, and it took 7 long months to get answers. Despite daily pain in her knees and ankles, she doesn't let arthritis hold her back. She plays on a select soccer team and is passionate about showing that arthritis won't win. She's here today to remind us that kids get arthritis too, and to share why connecting with the J community through the Arthritis Foundation has meant so much to her and her family. So welcome, Adalynn. So I'm going to start down with Ashlin, and Ashlin, I know I've been to Camp Sisu, so it's an amazing camp. But do you want to share a little bit about the camp experience for those, especially those parents that don't know much about camp, kind of what it's meant to you over the last 5 years since you've been attending?
Yeah, so like Steve said, I have been going to Camp Sisu for 5 years. We heard through a local friend on this amazing camp for kids who had arthritis too, and it wasn't too far away from where I live in Minnesota. So I attended. I believe my first year was in 3rd grade, and I was completely nervous, but it was so much fun. I met so many new friends. I learned a lot about my disease. I personally didn't know a bunch about my disease, so they have these little breakout sessions that talk about your disease, and then there's so much fun things to do there, like there's paddle boarding, they have a swimming pool, and they also have different arts and crafts that you can do. But my friends have definitely made an impact with all of us too. I met them through the Camp Sisu, and I met, I'm done.
No, I think where you're going is that you've met lifelong. Thank you very much, Ashlin. But I think you were starting to say, too, that you've met lifelong friends there, really, and you look forward to probably seeing them. I went to the Camp Sisu 2 years ago. It really is remarkable, the camps. And we also have rheumatologists on staff and nurses there the whole week to help the kids with their medication and also help kids learn how to do their own injectable medication over the week they're there. Sometimes they don't do it the first year they're there. It might take a couple years till the kids are comfortable, but it's really a great rites of passage for the kids. So I know lifelong friends are met, right, Ashlin, at the camp for sure. So thank you so much. So I'm going to turn a little bit different story to Sophia's story. Sophia, I mentioned, is a junior ambassador with our advocacy program. So I just want you to share a little bit about what that's meant to you and kind of how you decided to stand up in regards to advocacy.
Yeah, advocacy is really great because not only are we focusing on passing bills at a state level, but we're also focusing on national. And it helps not only me and people with arthritis, but some of the bills that we're trying to get passed can help so many other people. And it just makes a big impact, even if it's just me speaking out for everyone who has arthritis.
Absolutely, and we appreciate that because it's so important, because when you write letters or you go visit your state representatives, either state elected or nationally to go to Capitol Hill, they don't sometimes see faces of people with arthritis, especially kids with arthritis. And so they can be very powerful stories when you bring a family in with us to share the story of how step therapy, for example, is affecting your children, how they have to go on step 1, even though your doctor said you need to be on step 4 therapy, they make you go through all the steps they put you on for, which is slowing the disease, it's advancing the progression of the disease and slowing down you getting on the right treatment. So step therapy, as I think you did such a great job, helps all diseases, not just arthritis, but surely we're focused on why it matters to arthritis, but it's going to help all diseases if step therapy legislation can get passed federally. However, thanks to the work by Sophia and others, we've been able to pass in 40 states step therapy statewide bills. They're not all perfect, but that's been able to get us some steam to go to Capitol Hill and try to get a federally mandated step therapy bill. So now, have you sent letters and done visits? Like, what have you done?
Yes, I've sent letters to my national representatives. I've gone up to my state capitol and met with a whole bunch of people, and I've met people from my city council too, just to let everyone know that kids get arthritis too, because whenever you mention it to them, they're like, oh, I didn't know kids have arthritis too.
That's right.
Like, can I hear the story?
Yeah, that's so true. So thank you so much. And it's so important you consider getting involved because those stories matter. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to be a political science major. You don't have to be a government employee that knows how it works. We just need people to share your story. And I always tell people when you share your story, you can't go wrong because you're telling your story. You just tell what it is. And even just sending a letter, you don't even have to do much. So if you sign up on our website, we send you the sample letter and you just hit send and you put in your zip code and it'll send it automatically our website to your representative. So, and then sometimes we need more people like Sophia to get more involved and step up, but sometimes it's just as easy as sending emails from your own email system. So consider looking at our website as an adult and also getting your kids involved as a junior ambassador. So thank you, Sophia. Peyton, I'm going to turn to you. So I know you're involved in Florida as well, but you're also on the team committee for the JA Family Summit. And kind of how did you get involved in that? What do you think about that? How do you think your voice is heard? And share anything you want on JA Family Summit.
Yeah, so I kind of got involved with the Arthritis Foundation in 2022 after my re-diagnosis from 8 years of remission. And that's when we came to our first summit in Orlando. I met a bunch of really cool people because honestly, I had never met a child with arthritis before. So this was my first time actually seeing it in person. And so I met a bunch of cool friends, and JC, who was the teen lead at the time, had asked me to be on the committee for the 2023 in Atlanta, and I said yes. And so I was on the committee for the planning committee for the teens in the high school for 2023, and then last year and this year I am one of the co-chairs for the high school planning committee. And so with the planning committee, really what you do is kind of figure out the schedule for your respective committee and figure out what everyone is going to be doing and kind of making sure everything goes as planned. And you meet once a month for your committee, and then it kind of depends on which one and how much extra time you put into it and scheduling and figuring out everything. But that's the backside of the summit. But when we get here, we kind of just hang out with everyone and make sure all the conversations go smoothly and make sure everyone's networking and talking to people. But it is a really fun time, and it kind of forces you to get out of your shell and to get to talk to people and know people, especially me. I don't like talking to people. And this Arthritis Foundation has really helped with public speaking and really getting out of my shell and talking to others that I've never met and I would have never met without the Arthritis Foundation. It's truly an amazing organization, and I'm very blessed to be a part of it.
Well, thank you, Peyton. And you'd be surprised wasn't an extrovert because you're amazing. So thank you. so important, and also for if you don't have a teenager, you have younger children, we need parents on the other committees as well to help programming for the younger kids. So by all means, consider getting involved in one of the subcommittees for JA Family Summit. So I'm going to turn to Adalynn. Adalynn has been involved with us for a number of years. I think you've probably been dragged in by your mom into some of it. Her mom, Abby, was the former chair and co-chair of the JA Family Summit. But I know, Adalynn, you and your family have been involved in fundraising locally in the Houston area for the walk, one of the best fundraisers at the Houston Walk. Do you want to share a little bit about your fundraising, kind of how you use your story and what your family kind of does for that?
Sure. So I've been involved with the Arthritis Foundation for as long as I can remember. I remember I was the youth honoree like 2 years ago for our walk, and it's so important to like share your story at those events, because there's even people walking around that are like, hey, what's that? And we can share like about arthritis and why we do these things. And it's so important to fundraise so we can have money to provide for these events.
That's great. And I know you send out emails and you do your website and you tell your mom tells your story. I'm sure you do as well. I think what's neat about all four of these amazing young individuals is each of them have a little bit different style. It doesn't have to be all the Steve Taylor extroverts that need to be involved, but your willingness just to share your story in whatever way you're comfortable is so important. It might be through advocacy, it might be through events, it might be through the camp or through the JA Family Summit, but however your child wants to get involved, or maybe they don't, and maybe you'd want to get involved, but we appreciate all the volunteerism. I want to throw out a last minute question, kind of all of you, in regards to what would you tell the parents, because I know there's no kids in the room, they're out at their sessions, but what would you tell the parents about why their kids should be involved, or what you think the best advice they could give to their kids of whatever age you might have advice from when you were 8 or now to give to their kids around living with JA or getting involved. Any advice you'd have to give to the parents?
To get involved, because you meet lifelong friends and it's going to help you throughout your life. If you start like when you're in middle school, it's going to help you all throughout your high school career and then into your professional life. And it's just really great.
That's great. Anybody else? Peyton?
Getting involved definitely, and just going to the arthritis events really helps you find your voice with arthritis, and you learn how to advocate for yourself, which is really important, especially when you have a disease that not a lot of people understand, especially going through college and things like that. If you are interested in getting with the planning committee, the people who have the white lanyards, you can go up to them and give them your email, and we will get back to you after the summit, so then we can kind of reach out and you'll get more information about everything. But it really does help you find your voice with arthritis, and you meet lifelong friends, like she said, and it's really just a great time.
I think the one thing, I think, Adalynn, you can share this, and of course you, Ashlin, is you don't have to live arthritis every day when you have it as a child, because you go to school with people that don't have it, but when you get to come to programs like CSU, where you go to a walk, or come here to the summit, you get to be around kids that are like you, and like kind of all the barriers are knocked down. I think Camp CSU showed me that as well. Would you agree with that in regards to how Camp CSU just kind of knocks down all the barriers? No one brings their cliques with them. No one brings their various opinions of people. It kind of just makes everything level playing field. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, you just get along with everybody. You just randomly start conversations with someone just sitting next to you at lunch, and you will forever have a personal connection with that person.
Yeah, and you might not have talked to them at school, because they're they're in a different group than you would be at school, but at camp, you're kind of all in the same boat. Would you agree, Adalynn, in regards to the walk and the summit? Because I know you're always fluttering around, and you've met friends over the years you've been coming, so.
Yeah, I would definitely agree that it's like, I feel more open talking about, hey, I'm having pain right now, than I would at school, where they don't understand as much about how it feels. They're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, my ankle hurts. And they're like, why? But it's so hard to explain why.
And here and at the programs, people just get it because they're living it.
Everybody here understands that pain.
Great. Any last minute thoughts anyone had that you didn't get to? Awesome. Well, can we hear it for these 4 amazing young individuals? Thank you so much. Thank you. Great job, really. We couldn't pick 4 better young teenagers to do that. So with that, Really appreciate all that the families do in this room that are involved. If you're not involved, we'd love to get you involved. But also, if you don't want to get involved, that's okay. I always tell people, we are here to be resources and services for you, even if you just come to Family Summit one time, or 2 times, or 5 times, or you just take advantage of your local JA days, or you just go to our website. That's what we're here for, too. You don't have to feel obligated that you have to step up. If you are trying to avoid people with white lanyards, you don't have to avoid people with white lanyards. We're not going to sign everybody up. It's okay. That's what we're here for. So please make sure you take advantage. And as I said last night, if you don't know somebody, you're not comfortable going to introduce yourself, you seem you're kind of becoming, as a parent, even isolated in regards to you don't know who to talk to, go up to someone with a white lanyard and say, I'd love to meet someone that has a child my age, or I'd love to meet somebody that has, lives near me. Now, that's not always easy to do. I tried to help last night, but we can try the best to introduce you to people. So by all means, don't be shy in regards to why you're here. That's what you're here for, and so take advantage of everything that's happening while you're here as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to one of our longtime volunteers, Liz Smith, to join me on stage. Liz and Steve Smith have been involved for many years with the JA community here at the Arthritis Foundation and have been amazing volunteers. Liz will be presenting some very special JA volunteer awards over the next 2 days here, and so she's going to come to present our first award of the weekend, which is our Parent Leadership Award. So please welcome Liz Smith.
Those lights are bright. So I have to tell you, I'm really, really honored to present the 2025 JA Awards of Excellence. The first one today is our Parent Leadership Award. It is given to a parent who leads with compassion, commitment, and a very strong belief in community. This year's honoree, Erin Backus, is the heart of Arizona's JA community. As a parent of a child with arthritis, she's transformed her experience into an impactful leadership, supporting families, raising awareness, and building connections through events like JA Days, the Walk to Cure Arthritis, and more. Erin chairs her local JA board, leads parent meetups, partners with college groups like AOPI, and is known for mentoring families and volunteers with warmth and strength, even in very tough times. Unfortunately, Erin can't be here with us today, but we're very proud to honor her. Please join me in celebrating Erin Backus, our 2025 Parent Leadership Award recipient. So, thank you, Erin.
Hello. I'd like to start off just by saying that I'm so sad that I'm not with all of you to receive this incredible award. Thank you to the Arthritis Foundation for seeing what I'm doing here in my little neck of the woods of Arizona. Our daughter Nora was diagnosed with systemic JIA when she was just 9 years old. I knew from that moment of diagnosis that our parenting journey was going to look different. What I didn't exactly know was that it would also ignite a passion within me to do some advocacy work. I just want to thank the Arthritis Foundation for giving opportunities for us parents to get involved. I want to say a special thank you to my family, to Scott, my husband, I think Nora's little brother, Sam, and to Nora. We're so proud of the work that you're doing to share your story too. So thank you again to the Arthritis Foundation for this award and for the platform to help us as parents share our stories.
Congratulations to Erin.